All right, guys, so I know we talked about speccing everything out for the engine, but I forgot. The transmission, I have to deliver it apart, which is part of the deal. We're getting a good deal on it because I'm going to take it apart, clean it all up, have it ready to go for my friend. I'm going to pay him, but I trust him with the Turbo 400 more than I trust myself, and between making sure the engine runs, the last thing I want is a transmission that we're going to question. So if he builds it, I know it's going to be solid. It's going to end up being a full manual, standard pattern transmission with all the internal modifications of plugging up ports and stuff to redirect line pressure and create higher line pressure in third gear. So I'm going to take that apart. I'll make a couple videos as I go. I brought home a bunch of tools. I bought a little brake cleaner. My buddy gave me a bunch of oil filters for a 307, which I guess will work for us. They're nice wick filters, but they're not the big short ones that I like. But they're free, so I think they're no different than the other ones. They're just a little taller, so they're not as wide. So I'm going to get to it. I'm going to get this thing, drain it, and then go ahead and take it apart and clean it up as I go, and I'll make videos of that. So see you. For those of you wondering how you can work on a transmission without having it on a bench, this is the easiest way. You tip it up on the bell housing, and then you use a jack stand. Now on a Chevy style housing with the corner piece at the top, all you have to do is use some pieces of steel bolted through the bell housing to keep it level, or some 2x4s with lag bolts. And then, but before I even put it there, I usually will tip it into a drain pan, from the tail shaft, so that it drains. I get as much fluid out and I don't make a mess. And then from here I'm going to lay down some pig mat, because I know when I take out the pump assembly it's going to leak. So I'm going to get to that, and I will and I'll fill you guys in as I take it apart, like I said. Alright, so I got most of the transmission apart. You can see I got a pig mat because as soon as I removed the pump, fluid came out. I got the valve body off, the servo, the governor, everything that's going to limit you. I got the pump off. I want to say that's the intermediate. I'm not the most familiar with the Turbo 400, but I believe that's the intermediate clutches. I got the tail housing, the valve body out, everything small is in the trans pan. I've done enough transmissions and working on cars and stuff that I know how to separate all the bolts and kind of know where they all go just off of memory. But if you're going to do this yourself and you're not too comfortable with that, then bag and tag everything. Now when I do take this apart, I do have to zip tie and stick in the bag the clutches, because my buddy said that if they're good, we're going to reuse them for the build. And as long as they are the right thickness and still within spec, we'll be good. And the secondary part of this is going to be that I'm going to have to bring out my bench with the hole for the tail house shaft, the output shaft, so that I can tip this and get the rest of the assembly out. It's almost impossible to do it the way I have it here. So you can see that's the inside of the case. I got to remove the band, and then I got to remove that drum assembly, and we're going to go from there. So this is where I'm at. I'm going to set this up on my bench, and then I'll show you guys how that looks. Okay, so I got the transmission on here. I got all of the clutch drum assemblies. There's a middle shaft that connects the input and output shaft. Got that down there, which I'm going to end up putting back over here once I clean the case. I'm going to clean the case right now. But as you can see, I caught a lot of transmission fluid. I set my cleaning pan underneath, and we're going to go ahead and spray a little kerosene on here, brush it down, dry it off, and that way we can have it ready to go. So from here, I'm going to take the case off, clean these individual assemblies, and then proceed to bag and tag everything. And then we'll be ready to send this thing out Wednesday. So there's a couple of different little things about with the 400 than the 350, but this is significantly easier than the 350. Everything's a little bit bigger. I usually struggle taking apart the where the drum the reaction carrier on the 350s has a really tight snap ring. It sucks to get it in there. Usually I have to use two 90-degree picks like that one right there to pop it out. So, but this went pretty easy. So we'll start cleaning stuff, show you how nice and shiny this thing will turn out. Okay, so everything's cleaned up. I put it in a bin. I'm going to have to put it in a different bin because this one will blow out if I try to lift it. Not only that, it's very heavy. all the internals of the case are brutally heavy. That's why they call them dump truck transmissions, I guess. And you can see that the case cleaned up really well. The valve body's nice and clean. I cleaned the gasket surfaces, and this thing will be ready to rock. It actually was in pretty good shape. It wasn't bad. There wasn't a lot of sediment in the pan. So overall, I think we have a very, very, good core, and you can see I kind of kept it pretty clean. I mean, there's stuff everywhere, but I'm gonna pick up, wipe the floor down, move the engine back to where I had it because I needed to make just a little room over there. And tomorrow we are set to deal with this engine, so it should be a fun day tomorrow. And hopefully I'll set up the GoPro and I'll do intervals and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll let you guys go, and I hope you guys look forward to this engine build and this project. So far it's been really fun. It's the most organized short period project I have ever had, to be honest with you. I've never been able to get an engine together like this in such short notice. It's really shaping up and coming together. So guys, thank you so much for following. Share, like, subscribe. We got goals for this big block and the car that they're going to go into, and I think it's going to kick ass, and we're going to have fun with it. This isn't going to be like we're trying to prove something. It's going to be we should be able to prove something with it to kind of shut a few people up that usually say certain things. But again, I don't know yet. This thing is yet to even run. So I'm not going to put my foot in my mouth just yet. I wanted this thing to at least run, and then we'll set it up. So I'll let you guys go. See you.